Welcome. These will be my thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 8, start to finish. The episode's rated TVMA, so with this video there'll be spoilers for everything live-action Walking Dead leading up to and including this episode, not for anything that came out after this episode first premiered, another episode that I absolutely fucking loved. So, let's start, so that I do not forget it, with the video recommendation. So since it is Women's History Month, I'm trying to make sure to recommend videos by female leftists rather than, it's almost always leftists. But, so let's see. I thought I had one right around here. Okay, I will have one momentarily. Yeah, I don't think I've already recommended this one before, at least. Alice Capel's The Downfall of Influencer Paradise. Did I already? Okay, I'll see if I won't spend forever on it, but I believe I can find another that. Yeah. Oh wait, no, I definitely recommended that one. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Ella Pastoral's MLM Ships, Yuri Erasure, and Phantom's Weird Double Standard is really excellent video. And yeah, because of Women's History Month, I am also going to start by focusing on the female characters in this episode, and there certainly is a lot to talk about. So I suppose I'm going to try to start with the one who is the least. Yeah, so with Maggie, we have the incredible tension. I was very relieved when she got away, but it was definitely like, yeah, really, really tense. Um, the show is not above killing a pregnant woman, especially in such a brutal manner, but I do really hope that she and Glenn are reunited. And Dana, I as soon as she started, once he freed himself, I immediately wondered what exactly, like the way she talked to that guy, the wolf, is that her fear, because she did seem to recently overcome it, or is it the psychiatry training, because at least some of the things she says do seem like what a mental health care professional might say in such a circumstance, because it is sad reality every so often. To be clear, mental health, let's see, people who struggle with their mental health are more likely to be victims than perpetrators of violence. But every so often, yeah, sometimes there is violence. It's simply part of, like, the lizard brain really does not like when, I'm just going to make sure to do that. There we go. When we try to talk about and think about things that are painful, because it doesn't really understand that a painful memory is not the same thing as an actual dangerous, something that's right now physically dangerous to us. And so it reacts as if it is physical danger caused by the person that is making us think these things. So yeah, they get training to, de-escalate such a circumstance. And I think yeah, I really liked how, she, because yeah, she's like, hey, remember what you said? We're all dead. You don't have to kill us. You could just let us die. And yeah, I really hope that she and Tara do get more time together, but I don't know, it's starting to look unlikely. And I really appreciated that Rosita, followed Tara's lead, because, like, I can imagine, I don't think we've seen there be a conversation, but I can imagine the Facebook status update of Tara and Dana may have reached Rosita. And that was a really great, because like it's very clear, like it's Tara who first lowers her gun and then Rosita follows suit. And yeah, the conversation about, maybe we have to earn this place, don't you think we already have? And with Tara, yeah, just it was a difficult choice, but I think, I mean, with lowering her guns, there was a chance that Dana will live, which, basically if they didn't lower the guns, like, I mean, the wolves kill for less than, you don't even have to be a threat to them. I think the next in line is probably Michonne, and yeah, it was, we again have this thing of like, what do you want? Well, I want this place to succeed. Yes, but what does that mean to you? And, her trying to, yeah, the thing about like, I don't know what Michonne is doing, but it hurts like a, like a motherfucker. And yeah, that does segue nicely into talking about Deanna. And yeah, I liked getting the explanation for the Latin. One day this pain will be worth it. Which is such a great, because like, there, that was something that he used to, that her husband used to say. And, back then it was not quite the same circumstances right now, but it applies to both, you know. And I guess that covers... Yeah, I also really appreciate she just wanted to see Judith one last time. That was a great fake out. Yeah, it really did look like she had Walkerified, But yeah, it's just that her legs wouldn't quite take her all the way. And I appreciated her accepting that, someone has to be in the room with her at all times, and it's not going to be Judith. And that she goes out swinging, And it's one of those things, like, almost definitely she died right after it cut away from her, because there were way too many for her to shoot all of them, but we don't see it because the note we're supposed to end on, that what we're meant to focus on, is that she never gave up, And I also really appreciated her, she came to Rick's rescue, and he's like, oh, you have to get back. And she's like, we have to get back. And she points out what the right answer is, which... So I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I do think I got it very, very close to right. But keep in mind, when I recorded my video on that episode, I had not yet watched this one. I think... Yeah, hairdresser in a very tough spot, trying to get Sam to, and doing her best. I'm really worried about the end where he just keeps saying "Mom," because like at some point those walkers might realize, yeah. And Carol, like, we understand, There's yeah, very clever that she, she's like, I'm not falling asleep, I'm just resting my eyes. She's obviously, in reality, she's not even sleepy, but that's gonna get him to turn his back on her. And that's when the flamethrower comes up. Nope, that's the wrong piece of media. And yeah, their struggle. And yeah, the thing about like, this shouldn't happen now, but it has to. And yeah, I was genuinely not sure who was gonna win, because like, yeah, he's got range. She is the more willing to kill, especially human beings. He has more training. Like, it's a very yeah, because a lack of restraint will get you far, especially if you're going up against someone who does not share that. And I guess that does... Oh, right. Yeah, not an awful lot to say about Enid. Yeah. still this thing of like she's not sure. I did really appreciate the distinction made there between losing someone and them actually being gone. And I think that might, let's see. Yeah, I think that does cover them. So I'm gonna go scene by scene. So yeah, I appreciated that we open on, we see it again. We see the tower collapse and the walkers spill in, and I appreciate, like, throughout this episode I really wasn't sure how they were gonna make it, but then by the end it's like, oh right, okay, that gives them a chance. But yeah, it's gonna be really, really difficult. I'm genuinely not entirely sure they will be able to save Alexandria. I think they may have to go on the move, and that is going to be rough on, for example, Sam. And I guess that does... Let's see, what was the other thing that happened? Oh, right. The very opening, with this sort of visual metaphor for all the walkers, piling in with these, I would say, ants? Yeah, sorry, uncles. And yeah, them all going into this one area where there's a massive meal for them. Nicely done, writers. And let's see, I feel like there's at least one more thing. No, maybe not for that scene. So yeah, I appreciated the thing about, like, hey, most people got into their houses, or got into houses, so that's good news. And we have what's the other thing? It's right on the tip of my tongue. We have what was it? No, yeah, I guess that does cover that. Another distinction I really appreciated was, I never trusted you, but I don't believe you're lying. And I suppose that does. Yeah. Let's see. So we have what's the other thing there? We have I still am not quite getting enough sleep. Maybe you can tell. Right, we of course have, yeah. I could hardly believe that Ron still wants to go through with it. He still wants to kill Carl and Bill, or rather Rick. And yeah, the struggle between the two was very, very tense. And, he smashes the window, and they have to fight off walkers, and Rick has to break down the door. Incredible. Like, I was on the edge of my seat throughout that. And then it's like, what happened? We saw walkers, so we had to fight them. I heard struggling. I heard fighting. Yeah, for walkers. And then Ron is like, oh, there's there's something in here that we can use. And at first it seemed like, oh wow, Carl really is taking a chance here, but then he does demand the gun. And the thing about, like, your dad was an asshole. Your father was a killer, so was yours. I know you are, but what am I? I mean, I guess they can no longer play my father can kill your father. And I did really appreciate that, because, like, yeah, he, like, what is Rick going to do in his current mental state if he finds out that Ron wants to kill both of the male Bryans? So this is yeah. but it also means that technically he is still hypothetically dangerous. He just lost the element of surprise on them. And I guess that, yeah, I appreciate the way that it would gradually escalate over the course of the episode. There's already mentioned them, the walkers getting in, and then, they have to try to block the door. It doesn't last terribly long. And, they end up having to go upstairs. They are ceding ground at an alarming rate. And I also really appreciated the part where, Morgan pretty quickly realizes what must have happened, up there, because it's like, who could have turned out the light? Well, I guess Carol came. And yeah, Sam, with all these people coming to the place he used to get to be alone and feel safe, and now the monsters are right out there. And then they also have to apply I really appreciate that they found a way around rubbing. I mean, it's probably also like a thing about, I believe, thankfully, at least at that age, it is not legal to rub a bunch of gunk on a small child, which is actually something brought up in the movie Aliens, according to I want to say it's maybe the commentary track or behind the scenes or something. There's a mention of, maybe it shouldn't be legal to do this to, and I appreciate that child was older. The Judith actress is here. Anyway, I think that does pretty well cover the, but that was clever, applying it to this cloth and then putting the cloth over her. And let's see. I guess that pretty much covers the episode. I'm just gonna real quick mentally fast forward through it to see if there is anything else. I can hardly wait to see what's gonna happen next, including because like now Dana and Dana is a hostage. Tara and Rosita are down there. Yeah, just let's see. Right, and sorry, and so are Morgan and Carol. Right, I appreciated it during the discussion when he's like, "Yeah, you should kill me." You don't get a vote, and I think that might just about cover it. But yeah, I mean, the situation has gotten really out of control, and there's a lot of danger. So yeah, another good metaphor for Trump's second term. To be clear, I'm not calling for any kind of violence against him or anyone else. I'm saying, given all the mistakes he's made, how many incompetent people he's surrounded by that are not telling him no, and, like in the first term, at least there were people saying, we're not going to do that as soon as he was out of earshot. I think it is pretty hard to argue against the point, as others have already made, that I'm echoing, that Trump should not be in office in his current state because of both cognitive decline, and I'm not using that as an insult, neutral descriptor, and because of how little he seems to care these days, which others have pointed out might be part of the cognitive decline, if I can pronounce that word. Yeah, I think that does cover it. So the yeah, after Rick has to destroy the lock, which was also such a clever, Ron thinks about, if he locks the door, he's going to have an easier time taking out Carl. So Rick has to destroy the lock. And then afterwards, of course, they can't lock the door. And I just want there to be an outtake where, I think his name is Lincoln, the actor playing Rick Grimes, says, "Why isn't there a lock on this door?"